Welcome in, guys, to a Wires Up TV, where we are here for the Clubrooms, our members only show. And we're grateful to have you guys in the chat, but also anyone that's watching that's not a member is still able to watch and listen to some of the comments that we're going to cover tonight. But welcome back, everyone, after a fantastic weekend. Can't believe the week's already started, and we're what, 5 or 6 days away from another game. But we're going to break down a lot of what happened on Saturday, and I've got some new thoughts. Well, not so much new thoughts, but reassuring thoughts about what I watched when I rewatched the game. That is absolutely wonderful. So I'm going to share those pretty soon. But just quickly acknowledge everyone in the chat, specifically Jay Rose has become a YouTube member, and I know Jay is already a YouTube member, but it's great to have him. He said he just fixed up his membership. Great to see you, Team Mackie. Strictly, fantastic to see you as always, my friend. Rose with the Metcalf tied for third. That's absolutely fantastic, and I want to go over some of him as well in this kind of preview. Team Mackey's still recovering from the weekend that was stressful. It was, but man, if you watch it on a second time, I'm going to share it soon. It's absolutely wonderful. It's a good day. It's a good year. It's a good month. Fantastic time, Hosea, to be a Warriors fan, man, and especially for yourself. I know I saw in your super coach you're back on top of the board. You're loving yourself, aren't you? You're enjoying life. You've got everything going great for you. Your team has won. You're on top of the board. You beat me. I saw you beat me. So life is at a premium. You're at the zenith, at the peak of life currently. But it's and good stuff too, Team Eki. That's great to hear. Extra peppers, I love it. I love it. A little bit of a goosey. Doing a few goosies around work. Look, guys, I want to start off here, and I'll let you guys come in with some questions and more comments, and maybe I'll just start with this topic. But I did write, "Are we the real deal?" In the headline, and I'm looking back on the watch along. I did a bit of a watch along yesterday, but I also did a rewatch a little bit just before I got on here, and I was watching purely the last 20 minutes. And yes, that game was very, very dicey at the end there. The ability for the Cowboys to come back and the quality they have, that they were able to, nearly really get over the line. I look at it a little bit differently now from what I did on Saturday. I saw us as kind of choking or quitting, getting really fatigued. I thought that might be one of the most resilient performances defensively I've seen in a long time. Now, many of you that will know the Warriors, the 2010 season, and Mackie and a few others in the chat may be able to correct me. Do you remember that game? It was in the Cleary era. We went to Penrith, and we kept Penrith scoreless, I think. It might have been in the second half or the whole game. It was one of the best defensive efforts I've ever seen in a Warriors history. And I'm not trying to compare the two, but the amount of defense we put in that game might have been the 2010 season or 2011, 2012. I can't remember which one exactly. But we went there and we stopped them. It was quite crazy because they had a ton of position, and we really defended Penrith that day in the Cleary era. That performance, that 20-minute window, and though they did score and though it came close, when you look back at the defensive efforts, it's by far some of the best defense I've seen, best scramble defense I've seen in maybe Webby's era. And I know that's high praise, and maybe there might have been better ones in 2023. But I've never seen them move as a unit like they did in that game. And they had everything against them. They had repeat sets. They had knock-ons. Tane, dropped the try over the line. They nearly went all the way again with Taulung in the corner off the one. So, it wasn't perfect. But the scramble defense from the whole team under that period of pressure was one of the best I've seen yet. And just quickly, Mackie bang on 12-6. I think that was the game we shut them out in the second half. I can't remember, but it was one of the best. It was one of the best defensive performances under Cleary, and just kind of showed that we could be a very good defensive team, although it was one moment. But I really do think that when I'm looking at that period, that 10 to 15 minute period, like I see it now as more resilience as opposed to choking. It was fatigue. You could see Murata was just had to really push to get off his reads and get out there and try and make a difference. Capewell was that one-on-one with Purdue who could have gone through. Lecker was all over the shop. Barnett, Healy came in and did a great little job there. Everyone stepped up. I mean, it was fantastic to watch, and especially in the modern era where 6 against are king, and to still leak points but to be defensive as well was fantastic. I'm gonna jump in the questions now, but I look at it so differently after a second watching. Absolutely wonderful, man. Let's just have a look here. Josh, yeah, top of the table. Oh, yeah, killing it, Josh. Yeah, I love that, man. It does have that a little bit strictly, and we as Warriors fans have had those false dawns, but there's something about that performance. Looking back on it, and I really highly praise it. That too, Mackie. Very good point. Very good point. Yes, I too, Jose. You're bang on there. We did really well to Jay to really suppress that. Oh, definitely last year. Absolutely. Hey, Inspector. we we definitely did. I feel like that style of drop our heads and blow the game is gone. Different breed, different mentality. Yeah, even Tane's one was just pure error when he jumped up and knocked it on. I think the one where Lecker like bobbled the tap back and it fell in goal. I put a lot of it down to pure fatigue. Like the boys were really under the pump there. But there was a lot of really good positives I could see in that period of the defense. They were all fighting for each other. They were all. That is the vibe, Jay. It is the vibe for sure. Look, Licker's defense was it felt very first gradish. You know what I mean? And this is a young guy, but he's able to deal with the likes of a deer and to deal with a drink water with the speed. He can deal physically with a Nanai. He got moved to the left side. He was at center for a little stint. So the kid is actually genuinely going to be a star. It's a good question, Mackie. Did you think in hindsight Webster should have brought Healy on early? It's very hard to tell those types of things. He had to roll out Murata on an edge. He had to go with that lineup for a little bit. I don't think he could have. I think probably hindsight now, and probably now that he's played first grade, he will probably do that. But I suppose amongst the thick of the workload and being on your line for that long period, you just trust and back your experienced players to ride that out. But like I said, he might go to that earlier now. Do I have a problem with team jamming? I do not have a problem with team jamming. And I've spoken, like I said, Jose, with Jordan Pereira, and some teams, these are their systems. If us jamming in is part of a systematic approach, if you look at it, a lot of the time, Tane would jam, and miraculously, Taulagi would get a high bobbling ball and regather it. But then Capewell would cover for Tane jamming over. So it's part of our systems. I think when Tane's reading to jam, he's getting it right most of the time. He is playing a bit of that. It's a very tricky position because you got to play the intercept sometimes. You see Tane, he's doing like a blimmin', he's trying to dunk in a basketball hoop. He's reaching so high to try to get that ball. So it's nothing from him individually. These are principles of Webby's edge defense. I think he's actually executing it quite well from what I've seen for a smaller guy. Now, you are going to get some when you go and jump for the ball, it's going to land in Coates' hands and he's going to score a try. You just can't stop that. But there are others that I'd say a good 70 to 80% of the time he's actually doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing. But that's a really, really good question. Very great point, Mel. That right there is a fantastic point. Shen, thank you for being a YouTube member. I know you usually are, so it's cool to see you. And as you mentioned, yeah, the resubs, thank you. It's not good to see you, my man. Yeah, he got caught out a few times, and I think that's the what I respect about a guy like Tane is that he knows he's going to get targeted, but he'll still get up and fight anyway. Like the end when he got that the ball bounced up and he kind of got there was an intercept and then he kind of dummied and he got us to the 50-meter line. That's a guy who kind of just it's like water over a duck's back. He just lets it go and just doesn't quit. That's how I see him as that kind of I see him basically as a footy player, but with a short memory. I think his confidence never wavers, which is what you want. But yes, he does get targeted. That's part of his size and that type of thing. Styles, you bang on there. Like if you go back and watch, I think it was from the 20th minute, probably exactly. I think it was 30-20. We didn't have the ball for a good 15 minutes. We got one set maybe. We had like two dropouts that we had to defend. Pompey got a penalty. We got down the other end, and then they countered back again. I can't remember exactly. CNK dropped the ball. It just was relentless, and we actually did very, very well to withstand Cowboys, who are a really great defense. Great, and I believe it's actually the width that they were playing with. I mean, they were going for almost tackle for tackle, left to right. We did really well to suppress that, and then obviously when the ball moves to the other side of the field, everyone else still has to come in and compress the middle in case for underneath or cutbacks. And I thought everyone was really solid in that space as well. So, yeah, really, really cool to see. Jose. I think that was it. We were dead tired, man. We were dead tired. Dom, good to see you, my friend. He could have been a teammate. I have no confirmation. I'll let you guys if you can find it in the chat there. If he was injured, I haven't heard any reports. Yes, that's strictly it's a systematic thing for sure. Unfortunately, due to injuries, too small defending high balls at times. What has happened to Senge ball taking here? Takes himself out of the run back sometimes. Yeah, it must be a conserving energy type thing. I'm not too sure, Dom. That's a really good point. Something to look at and discuss. Yeah, I get that too, T Mac. I actually had no issue with it from a technicals point of view. But you probably could call it back. I mean, even the one with Taulangi where he should have got the foot, it wasn't a 7-tackle set. Tay, glad to see you, my friend. And good to see your super coach is picking it up too. You're doing very, very well. We've been developing Lussick and Healy to be prop lock hooker, right? They were sliding nicely on the bench. Yeah, well, if you saw Healy, kind of came in the middle. I'm not sure. Do you guys remember if it was Egan that was if he actually replaced Egan? But then he went into dummy half, and that little kick, he took a risk. He went for it, nearly pulled it off. What I loved about it is it kind of slowed the game down. The video ref had to have a look at it, kind of let us reset a bit. So there were benefits, even though it was a 7-tackle set. There were benefits I felt from Healy coming on, and I think he needs more time around the first team. Definitely feel that. I'm of in terms of a devil's advocate. I'm of the mindset I want to protect Egan more and more the further we get into the season. So I would like to see more of Healy, and I think getting him around the first team, getting a feel for how the halves want the ball, where they want it, defending at that level too, all those types of things. I really want to see that as well. Thank you guys. Yeah, 102 of you guys, nearly 100 people. Please hit that like and subscribe if you are new. Great. We love to have you here as part of our chat and members. So it is the mindset, Mel. Really good point. Yeah. It's. I think the back five. is kind of trying to alleviate pressure where it can, and Webby uses the way he uses yardage. I think it's a collective process gathering. If you always see our yardage numbers, we're either in the top three of the comp. Average per set's always usually high, but there is a science to the madness, I suppose, of how that looks, and that Webby always has guys know when to take a hit, who's taking that hit, what part of the field they're getting to get that yardage. If you see C&K been heavily involved in fourth tackle hit ups, which are very high tempo hit ups that they quick play the balls by that point. Once that marker defense and the A and B defenders have kind of been drawn in over a set of 6 tackles, your fourth tackle is the one where you can get a bit of tempo and then set. So he's been chiming in on those a lot. He's been doing the hard graft. But it's good too if we win and he doesn't have a massive game. It means that he can focus on other things as well. So yep, yeah, 9-13 hybrid. That's a great point, Maggie. Yes, Marata comes off first. Egan ended up off. Okay, I think so, Maggie. I think that's heading that way. I really do think that's heading that way. Thank you very much. My lovely wife has made me some lemsip. As you can tell, she watches the streams and she hears the coughing. I don't think it's not that I'm sick, guys, but I do dry up a lot when I'm talking. So I have to. My wife. Here we go. Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you, baby. Okay, back to work. Cowboys are second half team as well. I had the feeling that we just didn't expect that many. They look, a lot of their shape is beautiful, like fantastically beautiful to watch. Oh, okay, Dom, thank you for sharing that. That's a really good insight there. Look, Bunty was, yeah, that's his type of rotation is a tough one. I'll have to get into that sometime, but it's a tough one. But I think Healy is the right guy. I look at Healy now, and you look at the size of him as well. When he goes into contact, he's quite tall, so he can take those middle forwards heading him. So I think I think what we do need to see is more of Healy and how that might look without an injury mid game. See how he would be used traditionally with an Egan replacement type thing. He is strictly. He really is. Yeah, I love that he just went for it. And look, maybe that's a sign that there is license to kick from the dummy half position. Maybe just the guys didn't want it. Maybe that's just not Egan's game. I know he can, but there's been arguments that the dummy halves in our system don't have the license to kick. Maybe Healy didn't listen to Webby and say he just looked for eyes up footy, and that's what I was talking with Levon about. Levon the second was that eyes up footy. You should still hold it to your principles of eyes up footy, even though you play within a system. If you see it, go for it. I still believe in that, and that's the best footy for me personally. Is eyes up footy, because you get some of the greatest moments in rugby league from eyes up footy that just make our sport look amazing. Now, it doesn't mean it works all the time. You can't do that. But when there is a moment and it feels right, I think you should encourage the players to try and execute that play. Hey, SMH, how you doing, my man? Den in the Big Camp made an interesting comment about Webby putting on Samuel Healy on a critical time. Says a lot about his trust in his players. Look, when Webby calls up a guy, I do feel he has that trust in that player. For example, when he starts Lecker, he absolutely, I think he trusts Lecker now to be ready for that role, and we're seeing it. We're seeing it. So likewise for Healy, he was always one I spoke to a lot of the Sharks guys, guys at the ET stand. Shout out to the brothers there that have been big on Healy and his progression, and Brayley just the player that he is, and that he's blocking the way for Healy. So I think we're bang on there. But bring him in more. Bring him in more for sure. Dom, this is an underrated comment, but it's absolutely bang on. Want to give a shout out to Rose. Rose came. We had a chat with Rose, me and Jose. Rose came out and told me that Dylan Walker and Tohu, Rose can correct me, but it sounded like this, that Dylan Walker and Tohu were actually holding us back a little bit. Mainly Dylan Walker. And I was like, that is the most craziest comment. That is a sin bin. That's a send off, in my head. Because I view Dylan so highly. But I think what he was getting at is that the way that Dylan was working with maybe Metcalf and the halves is that it was almost impeding on their progress. Now, what I would argue that though is that maybe in time, Dylan and Metcalf, if they had more time, would get more in sync, as you're seeing Clark and the like in sync. But there's something particular about Clark and his style of play that is actually really starting to click with Metcalf and CHT. That I think we're seeing something that could be special here. And that actually moving forward, Clark, CHT, and Metcalf, I think that's the right balance to go forward. But it was real interesting comment from Rose. It like put me off. I was like, well, bro, I should send you off, 10 in the bin for that disrespect of Dylan Walker. But there's some validity to it that maybe Dylan was holding us back a little bit, specifically Metcalf and the halves. And as you're mentioning, Dom, that there's a connection that they're making now, that you're seeing this fruition, and like the attacking shape was really, really good. Very clear, got to the edges very quickly. The Kossi try was fantastic because of the detail in terms of CHD gave him early ball. Kossi really sat on his touchline, which I love wingers to sit on their touchline. And some of the other tries as well, really starting to see the involvement, the evolution of Clark and understanding what Webby wants him to do. So I totally agree with this comment. Absolutely, man. Couldn't do this without a W wife, bro. You can't. Well, there's no Wires Up TV without without my lady. I got to be honest with you. So, cheers to the beautiful lemon drink here. Yep. Could see that. I think we all do, bro. I think we all do. Look, bro, I'm 106. I'm 106 kilos, but I'm only 5'10". So, what does that tell you? Okay, Chris, let's see what you're saying. Kia ora, guys. Whilst I am happy about the win, I would like to have put the foot on the throat after half time. But like we were flat, win for 2 points instead of tried to show our mentally tough mentality. Thoughts? One sec. There's an argument there, Chris, that yes, we should have gone for the jugular a little bit more. We probably went a bit defensive, I think. The tricky thing is that, say if that was the Knights and we were up that by that point, that margin, I would have been happily taking the 2 points. And I'm still happy they took the 2 points, because that the Knights aren't going to chase those points. And we saw that in Christchurch, that they don't have the skill set to pile on and points in quick succession. So you got a fair enough call based on if it was the Cowboys to say, look, we need to be careful here. We need one more at least to make sure of it. And Ash actually made a really good point to me over the weekend. He talked about initially he thought 20 points was a safe space for NRL leads in the second half. Now he's thinking with teams like the Cowboys, you need 30 points to account for everything. Now, if you looked at the Cowboys in the first bit, they dropped the ball. They gave away a penalty. There were a few errors, but then once they got into their flow, and fair enough to them, they started to pile on points. And their energy and effort started to compound, and that's a typical trait of an NRL game, is that this game can blow out. It has runs in it like an NBA game where you just have to call a timeout, and you can't stop it sometimes. So I get the comment, Chris. I get the total point that we should put on the throats. But if you look at the Berry, and this everyone that's commented to me has spoken about the Berry coming off moment, and that kind of quelled the situation. The first couple of sets after the halftime, there was like 5 or 6 repeat sets where we were getting into a grind, waiting for the next team to make a mistake. Once Berry came off and we moved pieces around, it actually opened up the field for them. And by that point, whatever we had done previously, or the game plan had changed because we were in kind of trying to save ourselves mode. So the initial game plan to grind it out in the second half, I think, was fantastic. I think Berry was the right guy to nail that, and you're going to keep putting pressure on, defensively looking sound. But once that was changed over and you had Capewell out there and they saw that and they targeted that and targeted that edge, it was really hard to pull back. But up till that point, I was actually happy with the game plan. Rose, yep. Okay, guys, sorry, I know I'm right behind. I'm just going to quickly go through some of these messages here. That's great to hear, and it's great to hear, Mackie, from you, because I know you're 40, and to support our bro Rose, because I was offended by it because I love Dylan. But back to Rose's point, and you're starting to see it with a Clark here. Great point there. Yeah, Aaron, Dylan was in control a lot. Great point, Rose. Hey, I got a bit of work to catch up to you, my man. Jazz, great to see you, brother. Anti, our wonderful moderators and brothers, good to see you. Great point here, is not. Does that mean Berry is not fit for first grade? That is a can be a tough question. Berry's fitness when you get repeated injuries. Look, guys, some guys are susceptible to a lot of injuries. I feel for Berry and the pinched nerve he had in the shoulder, and it's been great that he's been able to get back. And for the majority, I've been really happy with his work. But a hamstring injury, although it's isolated to another different body part, I would be really concerned if it was a shoulder pinch again. But I'm not sure if that's that could be a genuine call, and maybe looking at a longer period in cup of a transition could be an arguable point. But I'm just gonna go based off of actually in the chat. Do you guys know if he has had hamstring injuries? That'd be interesting to see. But based off of what I feel, it's isolated, and I'm sure he could have another good run of games. Is it a fitness issue? Look, I think they would have crossed the T's and dotted the I's to make sure that he was fit. So, in a similar way to RTS having a hamstring, he's just a very muscular type guy, and he's susceptible to hamstrings or calves. RTS. That's just some players are built that way. But we'll have to watch this hamstring situation. Hamstrings are very hard too because they can get worse. We know Metcalf has had history with hamstrings, so let's monitor it. But it's a good discussion. That is strictly, and I was really like I was impressed with the Knights game with them, how they called the game, both of them. But this game was even better, and I got to give credit to both of them. Again, go back to what we've talked about always, that once Webby selected, and even me, I liked the TMM, I liked the idea of other halves partnerships. But once Metcalf and CHT was selected, our job was to back those boys as fans, and we have. and Webby's backed them too, and they've proven their point. Even with the Tanner Boyd, who a lot of people praise, they should get an opportunity. Look, we want to build around Metcalf and CHT for the future. Let them ride this out. Remember, I said 12 weeks. Well, they're playing so well that they might need the whole year minimum before we can even consider another option. That's how well they're playing, in my opinion. And it's still a lot of progress to go, still a lot more to learn. But congrats to both of them. Which, Mackie, you better. We don't have to start up a new group chat. We have to start up a new group chat. Yeah, he's. Look, yeah, you could argue. Just back on very quickly, you could argue that he might have needed a longer process to come through, but at the end of the day, you trust the team and staff, and but you know, if this is a recurring thing, you have to be careful with the process of bringing players back. You can't just, especially hamstrings, they need a bit of time to be tested as well. So I would give that a little bit more extra thought. Could be Maggie, could be that field, and that's just some of the risks of having a magic round is injury. To be honest, I felt he did pretty good. I mean, he missed that one penalty. It is, yeah, yeah. The speed of the game, it's relentless these days. Yep, Inspector, you're bang on. Well, see, that's a great point, Dom. About, I mean, I actually got no issue with Pompey kicking goals. I have no issue with anyone who kicks a goal as long as they go over. I'm not a big person on goal kicking. Like, it should be one guy. If you can kick goals on a regular high clip, you should be the guy. But what I love from Luke was that he was able to get up to full speed, it looked like, on that break, that line break through the middle. And even though Drinkwater got him, and we had this in the chat, I think it was on the watch along, I can't remember, but we argued who was the faster player, Metcalf or SJ in their primes. And I think it was a resounding SJ, and I think it absolutely is. But comparatively to Luke Metcalf's, his peak speed, when I see him running and his gait now, he feels confident and the hamstring won't pull up. And specifically to do that against Drinkwater, I think shows that he was legit. Like, my hamstring's fine now. I can really push it. And he felt like he pushed it. So, which is great for us. Can't wait for that one, Jose. Can't wait for it. Let's see where we see it. Yep. They've earned their right to stay there. Absolutely. Mackie, probably Pompey, Mr. Reliable. Again, where it's so easy to dismiss Pompey, but Pompey, just knock on wood, love my pops, but he's never injured for majority, and he's just Mr. Reliable. That's why I know no one had Pompey in the starting team at the start of the year, but you just got to get used to knowing that Pompey's going to be in there a lot. And so it's going to be Pompey. I would love to see MGT. Knowing Webby, he's going to go with Capewell. And I think what he will do is bring Laban in to the back row at some point. You both could be bang on there, and there's no fault in actually looking at getting someone else to kick the goals too. Passport, good to see you, my man. Everyone's great weekend to be a league fan, a WAS fan here on the Gold Coast, bro. What a great time and magic round. What an event. It looks like it's getting better each year, and despite the weather, it looked fantastic. Great. Yeah, I feel kicking goals as well as a half builds your confidence too. It's it is an important responsibility, and I know a lot of halves and fullbacks take that. Even though they're playmakers, big spine players, they still want to kick goals. So that's part of his development plan, much like a SJ was, or you see Reynolds, other halves kick it, then great. And maybe there is a little bit of a growth period for us as fans to accept. Um, yeah. Lea Toa, I think Daniel had an injury in training. From all reports, it was that he twisted the ankle. Something happened to the ankle in training. Now, he was in a moon boot. I'm thinking that would be um, that would be a minimum 2-3 weeks if you're in a moon boot. But who knows? He may come back early. I'm just going to go in my head, give it a week minimum. But he is injured. We'll wait to see if he might be back. Yeah, that's a great point, Jez. It didn't look like his full speed, but it looked like it was a good. So, say if his full speed's 100%, he looked maybe 85, could be 80, but it still looked good. And that burst of speed. I'm more interested in halves having that burst of speed, that initial burst of speed to break through the line. That looks pretty good. I don't expect halves to go all the way and beat a fullback on the outside like that, but for his burst of speed looks pretty good, and that should be the most important thing, especially with a running half like him. I think that's it. Yeah, Chris, this is a big argument. Was that should Webby have brought those young boys in earlier? I'm happy that he didn't. On reflection, despite the pain that we were experiencing as fans, and wanting to see some fresh blood for us to feel better, I suppose, about how the season went, and feel that those guys got more experience. But I'm happy he's let them come in this year in the environment that it is. I don't know how toxic it would have gotten, but if you're looking at this team and how they're performing as opposed to last year, and it feels so much better, I say. But that's a good it's a good point. I think either way they are playing, and he trusts them, which is what we want to see. I do. I really like MGT. Um, and if he's on the team list, I'm absolutely happy. I'm not at all like, oh crap, MGT's here. From what he's done in his performances, I have no issue with him. So that's great to hear. Um, Jose is saying, did you catch the Raiders Storm game? Leave on your thoughts on the only teams. Look, I thought that was a high intensity game. I thought the physicality, you could see why those two teams matched up so well together, and why maybe they dominated us. And it's not to disrespect our team, but there's a level of physicality that comes with those types of matchups. So I think again, Raiders. You pointed out the Raiders in, I think it was it June or July. That's a great marker to see where we stack up physically, and I'd like to see that. And I wish we had Storm again to kind of see where we're at later in the year. But I thought the physical battle was fantastic. They went at it for a good 20 minutes period, just tit for tat, and no one gave anything physical. I love the, as much as I'd like to see some biff, that was as close as you kind of got with Tuika Manu stepping on Starling, and the end was good on the ref for calling that high shot. Look, that's what a game should be called. Gus Gould always says that if you can't call it an origin and in the 78th minute, then there's no point calling it all. I think that's kind of the gist of that kind of quote. But great that the ref called it. And we know for years teams, specifically Storm, have been getting away with those calls and high peak pressure moments. Ref called it, nailed it, and they got the win. And that's how the game should be played. But the physicality for me is something we need to really be aware of. The speed. But from that performance against the Cows, I'm thinking like we're gonna really go into this. Would have been great to see. I would love to have played Canberra away, because I think that's always a good barometer test as well. There's a bit of a shame we played them early in Vegas, but I'm happy with our progress. You know what I mean? Yeah, MGT. Not big on hardware, but yeah. This is a great point, Daniel. It's great to have some of the young blood. You can tell they're taking on the line a bit more. And love to SJ, but he just wasn't attacking the line like in his younger days. To be a good half these days, you have to put your body on the line. Look at Nathan Cleary a lot of the time. They puts the body on the line to get to draw defenders in to really, you have to take the hits. It's one of the toughest positions in terms of you're going to take a lot of blindside hits as a half, but you have to take them to draw those defenders in. Hey, Tons, good to see you. Yep, totally agree with this. Sorry, Strictly, I want to get to this point. I'll come back to this one. Just let me see if there's any easy, quick hitters that I've missed. Okay, I'll come back down to Chris. But on this one, loved it. Loved it. Look, he wouldn't have come back out and played edge, I don't think, if Berry got injured. But he had to push himself based on his minutes that he usually plays out on the edge there. But that stint through the middle of the start, fantastic. I want to see more of it. Definitely want to see more of it. Loiero, yeah. Loiero he was pushing it all night. I mean, some of the Storm tactics is specifically holding players up and then looking at the ref to give them the clear to release the player. But it's one of my frustrations. But, Loiero, he got his just desserts for that one. Yeah, this is great call, Daniel. Great call. I think it's time we start putting expectations on the team. In due respect and on current form, we should beat the Dragons this weekend. Should feel confident about it. Yeah, I suppose for me, Chris, I'm coming from the mindset of just knowing that in our history, Dragons away is a difficult challenge. And I know a lot of our fans hate being, considered as we should hide and sit under the radar. That's the best team. Look, if you want to be a good team, at some point you do have to stand out. You do have to be targeted if you're going to be taken seriously. And yeah, I feel we should be confident against the Dragons. We should feel that this team, what I've seen so far, some of the key indicators, they more than well enough deserve the respect. And I know a lot of you guys are seeing the content being created that they are respecting them. That the Aussie media is slowly starting to respect us. Obviously, because we're in the top 4, they have to. But we need to earn that respect even more. We can't just be a team that's underdogs forever. We need to be a team that's on top and targeted. And yeah, you're bang on. We should go into a Dragons game and not feel like it's a banana skin. And some of the performances this year, I feel very confident about. But I'm still acknowledging that it is a tricky one. That's a good. Yep, fair enough there. Exactly, Tons. I think he will, Shin. I think he will get in the squad. Killer, great to see you, my man. Been a little while, man, but I hope you've been well. Just make sure they don't pick the Warriors mascot for center. He looked a bit slow, didn't he? He really did. He did pass one. You would have seen it maybe at the game. They're a very quality team. Killer, man, you're too nice, man. You're very nice. Appreciate this, brother. A couple of days without the wires is too much. Look, I can't wait for this game on Saturday, man. I know you've been. Hope you've been real well, and it's good to see you pop in. And no doubt you've been busy. But appreciate this 20, man. It's, we really appreciate this kindness of your heart, Killer, and for yeah, just for who you are and always supporting our team and us boys, especially here at Wise Up TV. We thank you for that, man. But look, it's great when you finish Monday, Tuesday. Like I need that Friday night game, eh? I mean, Sunday, I hate Sunday. That's just way too far out. But Friday night, actually, guys in the chat, tell me what's your best night for a Warriors game? Do you like Friday to Friday? Or do you like a Saturday to Friday? Or do you like a Friday to Saturday? Like in terms of a sequence of 2 games, how would you like to see it? So what, we got Saturday to Saturday coming up. I don't quite mind it. I would love a Saturday to Friday. Sunday to Friday would be fantastic, but you don't want to push the boys too hard. Friday to Saturday, Sunday is just too long. Yeah. Friday to Friday, I don't mind, but yeah, that kind of. But good to see you, man. Good to see you, Killer. Thanks for yeah. Hope things are going well for you, man. Yeah, I think the matchup is defensively with the Dragons. They play poor man's version of what Manly normally do. They're a tricky team. Flanagan has kind of a number on Webby. That's probably too early to say, but Flanagan's not a bad coach. But this team's new team. This team's definitely a new team. Towns, I had a little spiel at the start where I thought that was probably some of the best resilient defense I've seen. I can understand that from that we kind of felt like we let them back in the game, but they were a quality team. But I thought our scramble D was absolutely awesome. Yeah, Chris, there's an actual progression that you should be viewed as a threat, and no doubt you'll have a target on your head, and you got to be ready for that. Absolutely, Isaiah. Could be. Yeah, fish. Look, I think we've done well with our fish, and I know people will probably be critical of fish and that. Oh man, we've had Aaron Clark. What do we really need fish? There's something about fish and that his intangibles that he brings, and he's a quality player. I think Marata's done well. Everyone's filled in pretty well over this period. But yeah, I can't wait to see Fish back, and I'm hoping his recovery goes well. Bench for Dragons. I like Healy. Want Healy there. Dimitric's been pretty decent for my opinion. I'm not expecting Dimitric to have a massive game. Probably Bunty. I think Bunty has good periods too where you can bring him on for 10, 15 and he can quell a bit of pressure. I would Laban, if he doesn't start, I would have Laban on the bench too. Those 3 in particular. Just got now we're getting into this Friday nights here. Friday, everyone loves the Fridays. Yep. Saturday, Friday, low key, not bad, eh? Strictly, I like that. Friday to Friday, get that too. Sunday games are the worst. Yeah, Friday, Saturday's not bad. Yeah, Friday and lose, it kind of hangs over the weekend. Saturday isn't actually Jose, what's your go-to karaoke song? What's that song? What's the song I sing, babe? That's a great question, though. I love Rick Astley. These are my 2 favorite guys. So if you guys don't know, I love my 80s and 70s music. Rick Astley and Michael McDonald from Doobie Brothers. Those are the 2 guys I love to impersonate. Just that sound, the voice they have. Yeah. Anyway, sidetrack. Jose, man, you always sidetrack me, man. I'm trying to be professional here. I'm at the game like Saturday or Sunday afternoon. Friday night, the mouse mum is driving back through traffic. Yeah, that's true too. Yep. Killer, I'm a bit late, but who did you guys think will be brought in, shifted to center, or who would you like to see? See, we were talking about MGT was okay. I had no issue if he came in, did a job. I'm thinking they're going to go with Catewell. I'm thinking they're going to bring in Laban to the left-hand side, and they're going to keep Lecker back on the right-hand side. If that is the case, and now that I'm looking at my bench again, I'm probably bringing in Ale. I like Ale because he does have some versatility. Um, so I think Ale might be the good guy to bring because he can play a little bit of back row as well, Ale. So Ale for me is actually that fourth guy on the bench. But centers wise, I'm thinking he's going to go Capewell. I just got a weird feeling that he's going to go with Capewell. But some of us agreed, Killer, that we wouldn't mind MGT. Yep, that's a good call too. Yeah, the Storms, man, they hate it, eh? Can't go in church on Sunday mornings. Been waiting for Sunday. Fair enough. Yeah, you're never gonna give you up. Yes, yes. Hosea knows, man. You look like Dennis Marsh. Which one's Dennis Marsh? No, bro, you're gangster, bro. You're gangster. Yeah, Michael McDonald. He's a great keyboard player too, man. No, that's gangster. He might do. I'm not too sure. Tons. But yeah. Okay, let's just maybe talk, guys. We've got about another 8 minutes. Let me know what you're going to talk about. Should we talk about this game against on Tuesday? Sorry, on Saturday. Team lineup. Is there anyone else that you guys kind of want to talk about in terms of like players that you might come in? Does if Roger? I mean, we had this big chat like a week ago. If Roger comes in, does Tane drop out? Or actually, does Tane stay in, which then moves Pompey keeps Pompey at left center. Tane or Kossi might stay, maybe that type of thing. Harold Metz, that's actually a great point, Strictly. Shout out to the bros, Harold Metz, the brother TJ, the coach, back-to-back champions. What a wonderful moment in our history to see our junior levels winning competitions. Obviously, it harkens back to the days of our under 20s being so successful that they were. Look, we're in a different model and different time frame now that we're getting into the deeper levels of development under 17s. And look, there's some high talent in that team, man. There really is. Starting obviously with, I think, the spearhead of that is Bishop Neal. And that try that he got and that fend, absolutely ruthless. He is a cut above. Again, for me, I'd like him to be developed, a lot more developed in his game, and I think he's going to get that through the grades. But the overall performance of those boys again is just great for the team, great for the club to see them back to back. I really want a big shout out to TJ Ashford. You know, I think TJ is a local guy in Auckland, and developing his craft as a coach. But to get the young boys to perform and the talent that he has, and to get it to work, and and still implement Webby's systems and all those things, tells me that the club's doing some wonderful things in development, and especially want to shout him out, man. But I know Ash will be on tomorrow night, guys. Just quickly, Ash will be on tomorrow night with Sam Hewitt. Sam, fan of the channel, and is on Sports Nation, SCNZ originally. Him and Jello, obviously, and Ashford, the work they do. So it'll be really cool to have Sam on tomorrow night. I won't be on, unfortunately, but I know it's going to be an action-packed show. So come in again with Ash. Ash will give his views as well of the development stuff as well, but definitely come in and see that. Sorry, yeah, I forgot to say DWZ as well. You see, RTS was listed as a week after, but if they both come in, do you chuck both of them at the same time? That's a kind of a interesting one. I think Dallin does come in for Tane. I think he does. But we've had those arguments or discussions as about Kossi is injured. Okay, I didn't see that, Mackie. That makes a lot more easy sense. Crazy. Cool. Shout out to Kuddle Dennis, bro. Yeah, I think Tane will drop. There's a big argument, Dom. There's a big discussion point. A lot of people have always talked about this. Again, I think they'll go to C and K. But Tane is a talent. He is a talent. Yeah, shout out to the Cup boys as well, killing it. Absolutely killing it. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you're bang on Hosea. The 6 p.m. is always, we're always hanging around. I get on Instagram in about 5:56, and I just do the reload until I see the team list. But yeah. Well, I love the loan system, but it hardly ever gets used in rugby league, unfortunately. But absolutely would be up for a loan if that was the case. That's a good argument, strictly. That's it. So Cossie's out. Appreciate that update, guys. Kate White, MGT, Lee Pompey on the wing. That's actually not a bad argument. Pompey is pretty good, as you saw with his intercept try on Saturday. He does have a good feel for intercepts. He can play pretty well in both positions. I thought him and Koss had a really good run together. In general, but I have no issue to. Again, for me, MGT so far, he's proven that he can play in any role. I have no issue with MGT. He's going to be a problem. I saw that. I need to watch the highlights, Mickey, of Gannon. I heard he set up some tries as a half, so that's something we need to do some research, guys, of Gannon a bit. Let's watch a bit of Super League over the next year to see how he goes. He may be in the Ashes, who knows as well. That might be a shout for the bro, but we'd like to see more of him for sure. I don't want to go liquor to center right now, Tans. I think this kid can play anywhere. I really do. But I love him in that back row at the moment. I really do love him in that back row. Bro, we might have to get some people on, man. I hit up some people sometimes, guys. I'm not gonna lie, but they don't get back to me. So it's not that I haven't been trying, but I get the scene, and then wait for the reply. It doesn't come. But anyway, I'm still trying. And guys, for you guys that have contact with Sam will jump on anytime. I say, Sam, can you jump? Absolutely. Whenever he's free, he loves putting us content creators on. He's very generous with his time, his knowledge and close to the game, how he's involved, commentary. Great dude, man. So you guys are gonna have a great show tomorrow, man. Hit that like, people. 109, man. This is fantastic. We're grateful to have you guys in here as well. Could be an argument, Tons. Could be an argument for that. Absolutely. He's killing it right now as well. But our brother there. Sam is solid on sport. Has some good interviews with the Wild boys and coaches. Check some out. Yes, go check out Sports Nation. I'm pretty sure all of us that are here, members at least, know Sam quite well. Eddie could be a shout too. It's exciting. It's exciting to see a potential guy like Eddie come in as well. MGT, I've had no. Again, I go back to I've had no issues with that. I'm just excited to see what happens now. We might play mind games again. So don't get too caught up. Like seeing Tamite Martin in 14, when reality was always going to be healing. Don't get too caught up. If you see someone's in that position, and then slowly but surely, someone comes in late. So just be mindful of that. But what I would love to see a young guy come through and get another opportunity like Eddie. Yep. Don't mind Pompey, actually. Yeah, I saw that, Jose. I saw actually something on TikTok where he was actually kicking goals. I was like, wow, if we need it, definitely. Okay, guys, we are at an hour. Any last call at all? Otherwise, we'll wrap up here. I think we've covered everything we can till roughly team list tomorrow, and so I want to just finish basically saying that I'll go back to my first point. Actually, the first half of that Cowboys game was fantastic to see. The attack, the flow, like someone mentioned earlier in the chat about the connection between Clark, Egan Clark, CHT, Metcalf has been great. And even if you notice, Chance isn't always involved in the offense, which I actually don't mind. I think they figured out something where Chance is kind of used in only certain situations, mainly on the right side, but the flow that Metcalf is getting now is he's switching both right to left. You're seeing those swing plays really start to generate momentum, and then his support play, his tackling, he's in a really great vein of form. I think that's something that we should be excited about with Metcalf. Yes, that's great. We've got great depth, and this is like a period of time frame where, look, you got the depth there, use it. If you need a tenor boy to come in, fantastic. If he gets us through a game, great. MGT comes in and we win a game, put it on his resume again. Well, I think Team Mackie, he can. Yeah, I don't know how far he can. But all I'm saying is that maybe in the centers there might be a stopgap name there for now, but try and correlate it with the 18 to 23 and see what you can match up there. It's kind of that kind of a match thing. Yeah, and watch along on Saturday as well, Jose. Yeah, guys, come out for the watch along as well. But anyway, guys, we'll see you guys next time. Thank you once again, everyone, for watching. Had over 100 people in here. That is huge for our channel. Please hit that like and subscribe. It's been great having a chat with our members. Tomorrow night, we're open to anyone that can come in the chat. So pop your head in, share your thoughts. I no doubt Ash and Sam will discuss them. They'll have talking points, but if they see something in the chat pop up that they can correlate with their point, or there's a good question in there, I'm sure they'll bring that. But at least tonight on our member show, it's always great to share the space with you and get to your guys' comments. Yep, come to that show tomorrow. Look, and I have had these conversations as quickly with Jose that I don't like SJ. I don't like some of the stuff on Play on Sports, but in this environment with him on Fox Sports, he kills it. He absolutely kills it. If I'm in this, I'm really worried. You bang on, man. Bang on, bang on. Let's go. Peace and love to everyone. Stay safe. Jazz, see you again tomorrow. Great to see you, the brother Tahi. As always, man. Hope you are well. And I see you. Okay, see you Saturday, Jose. Have a great week. Much love, everyone. Stay safe. Up the wires as always. Peace. We'll catch you on the flip side.